Good morning, Eric Leninger, Gene Loomis Fly Fishing here again. We are going to be spinning up the Adachi, hopefully I pronounced that correct, Clouser. Going to be doing some fishing on the Delta for stripers coming up, so this is a great fly. What they tell me, I've never done it before. The striper fishery, not fly tying. And we're going to get started here. So we're tying it on a Ahrex TP650 26 degree bent streamer hook and a 2/0. You can tie them all the way up to 4/0, and just Veevus GSP gel spun thread in a 100 or 150. That looks like 150. So just get a little thread base all the way back and forward, and then Zap-A-Gap or super glue, whatever you got, just to kind of lock that in. Whenever you're fishing for toothy critters, I think it pays to kind of build your fly in steps where you're gluing or using UV cure at any tie-in points. It seems to really make a difference if you want to have those flies last a long time. So we got our thread base. We're going to go ahead and get some Flashabou. This is this new color called Ice Blue. It's pretty sweet. It's kind of got like a UV look to it. The original pattern just calls for just normal pearl Flashabou. I don't think it matters that much. Get a hefty amount, 12 to maybe 16 pieces of Flashabou. And so the thing about this is you're going to want the Flashabou longer than any of the materials in this fly, for whatever reason. The guys say that when that fly stops, that stuff kind of wiggles as it drops. But if it's all clumped in with the same length of the material that you're using for the body, that doesn't happen. So just make sure that as you build this fly, it's not all the same length in the back end. So let's get this back there a little more. Spin the thread sometimes so that GSP gives it an edge. Couple wraps back. Fold it over. Some people were having issues with it fouling, and my buddy Jeremiah will actually put a little piece of like H&H tubing or something on there to keep it more stiff. I found that the Pro Sport Fisher UV Cure or Loon stuff, if you squeeze all the Flashabou and just put a little, not a whole bunch, but maybe ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch, hold it tight, hit it with the light. Again, not supposed to rhyme. That will add just a little bit of stiffness there to where it won't foul as much on you. And then the final part to this is they say that you want all the ends squared. So that's different. That's something I don't really hear. Usually you talk about having a taper and having all the Flashabou fibers moving independently, but they're big on keeping it all the same length squared off in the back. So ta-da, there we go. You can put a rattle in if you want. For this one, I'm not going to. We're just going to get a set of eyes here. You can use lead eyes. I have heard that the weight of them, it makes that fly just nosedive too much on the stalls, kind of a jigging motion. If you're looking for that, perfect. But if you're looking for more of that minnow, just kind of creep along, hover. Just the brass eyes or aloe eyes can work pretty good. And to measure that, you just put the eyes at the bend of the hook. And where that eye stops, that's where you want to tie it in. Maybe right about there. Everybody's got their own method for tying eyes in. Just get them tight. With that GSP, you can reef on it pretty good. That should be all right. And then, like I was saying, like to kind of guarantee that's going to stay there. So again, just a little Zap-A-Gap. Cool trick a buddy showed me with this stuff, the brushable. Your cap will glue to it. It's done it to me like 15 times. Just take a little bit of chapstick, and when you take the top off, just put it around the rim. Doesn't glue. I mean, that was like a great tip. That's been super helpful because I'm like, I love the brushable stuff, but it just keeps gluing itself to the bottle, which I know, spoiler alert, is not what you want. And so I was just about to quit. Then he told me, hey man, check this stuff out. So shout out Jason. Thanks, buddy. So that's on there. We're gonna, obviously this flies upside down, right? So we're gonna build the belly. And I think in the original recipe they call for like slinky fibers. I ordered them at the shop for the trip coming up. I didn't have any at home, so I'm just gonna use EP fibers. We're gonna see how it shakes out. And basically you're trying to build, you know, this fish, this bait fish, to match whatever the forage in your area is. So if it's a big fat shad, you want a pretty dense and wide body. Smaller bait fish, you know, taper it down. As I do more and more bait fish, I kind of like the less is more. I don't think it catches any more fish. It just looks more like a fish to me. So you get your EP fibers, and what you want to do is square them off first. That allows you to get in there individually and really taper it the way you want. Okay? So just kind of pull in. So that looks good. And again, like I said, you don't want it to go all the way to the end of that, the flash boost. So maybe right about there. Just maybe a couple wraps. And you do want to go in front of the eyes here. That's a durability thing. So if you fold it in front of the eyes and then go back over the top, it's going to make that fly way more durable. It can get a little shredded, but you know, it's not going to pull out. Like so. So you got this long piece right here. If you have real sharp scissors, you can kind of, as you go back, it just kind of cuts and tapers it for you. So, you know, right about there, and just get that taper like so. Still got that flash boot longer back there, so we're in good shape. Again, let's glue that down. And you can use UV cure too. I kind of like the super glue stuff when I'm building the fly because it soaks into the thread more, and the UV cure is great, but when it hardens, it's slick, right? So when you wrap stuff, sometimes it wants to slip off. We're going to build a little kind of lateral line, if you will. And I'm just going to use, this stuff is called, well, it's the EP fibers, but bait fish belly. So I didn't even know that. So we're going in the right direction. One thing about these EP fibers is you're going to make a mess. It's going to be a big one too. But trying to get as little out as you can at a time can be kind of challenging. But after a little practice, it's not too bad. So again, kind of the same step. We're going to just square off those ends. Just take that and just right there. And then we're going to, since it's flat, we're going to pull these until we get the desired taper that we want. So it looks something like, you know, so it looks like a taper, right? There you go. And you're going to put it on the side. You're not going to smash it right on top. You're going to put it just to the side. You want it a little bit shorter than that belly wing. So maybe like, it's going to be like that. Maybe just a little bit shorter even than that. Something like that. Tie it in. Same thing, we're going to go over the top. Sylvester Stallone style, right over the top there. And then we're going to fold it back. When we do, we kind of want it to go to that side, right? So it's on that side. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to take our scissors and we're going to just kind of start shallow. There we go. Now we got those little kind of lateral lines on the side. Hit it with the super glue. Good. Now we're ready to flip it over. If you got a rotary vise, you can flip it. I actually prefer just to take it out, just like the way the vise sets up and everything, better, like that. So all that stuff's back there, don't worry about it, it's fine. I like to do a little extra layer here because I'm a professional. Just kidding. Never tied these flies except this week. Never fished for stripers. So I'm the last person you should be taking professional advice from. That's just an all-around advice warning, is to don't take it from me. But it does look good, so can't argue with that. I'm going to just square these off real quick. Square them off. This is EP Fibers again, and this one is anchovy. And taper it. It just kind of glows. It really lights it up. I like it a lot. So, you know, again, we don't want it to go, you know, past those fibers to kind of eyeball it. And afterwards, you can trim a little bit and mess with it a whole bunch. So just lay it on there. Pretty straightforward as far as technique goes. It's just kind of the same thing over and over. This one's going to go in front now, like the rest. And then back over. Spin this thread just a little bit. Okay. That's sitting there. Get our scissors. Taper it. She's coming along. And so then what we're going to lay on top is kind of the final wing, or the top of the body, whatever you want to call it, is Steve Farrar's Flash Blend. This one's mackerel. So we got, you know, we got baitfish belly, anchovy, and mackerel on the same baitfish. So it's just kind of, it's a Frankenstein of baitfish colors. So who knows if it's going to work, but it looks good. Again, it looks real good. So this is just as bad to pull out. It's just got some real kind of like curvy, wavy hairs in there. I really like that Farrar's Flash Blend. So again, we're going to take these and we're going to just cut them right off the top, square everything up. That gives you a good kind of starting point to get your taper. So just, you know, messing around with that, getting it to where you like it. That's good. Same thing, just going to kind of lay that guy on top. Tie him in. And then over the dumbbell eyes. And then, you guessed it, fold it back. To there. This is me just kind of being a little OCD, is I'll wrap the thread until I cover all the color. I don't think you need to do that. It just, I don't know, just looks better to me. So again, not a necessity. And if you got a little bit of color there, quick fix is just get a little zap-a-gap and then that thread will stick to it. And you could tie with different color threads. I mean, obviously you could tie with chartreuse or whatever, have a little hot spot, or and then basically we're just going to whip finish it. She's done. Make sure she's not too tacky. And then just load her up. Now, there's people that do a real good job with this. They got like all sorts of applicators and stuff. I just glob it on. I mean, I don't want it around the materials as much, but this isn't going to take me a half hour. I'm just going to put a bunch on there, and then I'm going to hit it with the plasma light. Because nobody got time for that. So I just breathed in a big hit of that resin, so I'm not going to be feeling good later. But hey, we got that fly done. That is it. Now, obviously, this stuff is way long, right? You don't want it longer than the tail. So, after you take a look at it, kind of line it up with the rest of that wing. And just same thing. Right? Now let's take a look at it. So you got your, and you could go through here and spend hours just, getting the little ones that are, barely out of place. But that's it. The Adichie Clouser. Good little baitfish pattern. You can tie it in a bunch of different colors. Obviously, I just did. Doesn't take too long. Rattle without rattle. Any predatory fish. Doesn't have to be stripers. Browns will eat that, and rainbow trout colors. Obviously smallmouth bass around here. So, quick, great little pattern. Hope you guys have some success with it the next time you head out. Thanks for watching.